Hi everybody. So I'm just hanging out tonight. Not really doing too much. Just still recovering from all my health issues last week. And I just wanted to kind of talk about some things going on. But first, I wanted to show you this super cool blue calcite circle. And it's a really, really beautiful crystal. And it's actually, oh, you can't really see it with the light. It's actually really nice, and the color blue resonates with the throat chakra, so it's a really great tool for communication. And something also really cool that I have learned about calcite, I don't know about blue calcite in particular, but the largest piece ever was found in Iceland, and I have been to Iceland twice. So I've had this forever. It's just kind of been like sitting on the shelf, just looking pretty. But yeah, so I found that out recently, and I have like a really deep connection with the land of Iceland. Yeah, I've had some great experiences there. I solo traveled there once, and I went with my very, very good friend Delaney. But anyways, so much has been manifesting lately. There's like so many things that I want to share right now, but I'm going to avoid doing all that until I'm more ready to share the information and just kind of go into like this shift that I've been noticing since like I started my spiritual journey and getting like super deep into it a couple years ago. But I mean, it's getting heavier, and it's not only that I'm exposing myself to it more, but I've been noticing like as my vibration raises, I can definitely see that I'm attracting people with similar vibrations. So it's like, I mean, obviously that would make sense. Hi, Mahi. That's so funny. You just texted me. Mahi actually just read my mind earlier, or like a few minutes ago, and told me to download this app called Calm, which I recommend to everybody. And I had just downloaded it like a month ago, and I've been using it a bunch, so I totally love it. But yeah, so back to this shift of consciousness that has been kind of like an epidemic in a good way, and it's really, really cool to be seeing all these like people, especially young people, like waking up, and also in comparison, like these older people that grew up in this completely different environment. There's this like huge generation gap, and they're seeing like the benefits, and they're seeing all this youth and all these people like kind of switching out of these regular jobs and these regular, like, 9-to-5 lifestyles and making a living and making a life for themselves without feeling this huge desire for money, because it's not about being rich anymore. It's about being happy, and it's about being sustainable. And if this earth is going to grow with us the way it is, it really, truly needs to be sustained. That's not even a question. So, so my shift has been going on, but hi, how are ya? But so my shift has been going on for a while, and it's been a roller coaster. So I've had these super high highs, these super low lows, and I'm constantly going to healers, like getting more and more help, and therapy and Reiki healing and massage, and like all these things are great. All these things are absolutely necessary in the journey. But I kind of realized like the past year I got really lost in it. And I put aside my business to like do all this self-help stuff, and I put aside a lot of priorities. I put aside even my own like self-care practices. I put aside saving money. I put aside a lot of things that should be kind of like priorities when you're about to like graduate college and start a whole life on your own. And I definitely was going through quite a bit in my relationship, which I realized a couple weeks ago. Like, it had been kind of on and off, but I did realize that it needed to end. And that was a fucking hard pill to swallow. And like, honestly, it came out of my mouth before I had even like processed that I was going to say it. And I'm finally feeling ready to talk about it like publicly, and losing that connection, I mean, I'm still hurting. It's been very conflicting for me in my heart, but like I have realized like I was not ready to commit to a life with someone else when like I still feel like I have a lot of work to do in committing a life to myself and making sure I'm, you know, mentally sound, financially sound, and all these really important things that, you know, you need to be secure in your life, these things that relate to your root chakra, that weren't very secure, and it was very apparent to the psychic healers I was seeing as well as to myself, so like to complete strangers, that my root chakra was totally destroyed for a number of reasons. And so I've been spending the past couple of weeks doing this like super duper deep healing work, and it's been really messy and it's been pretty ugly. Hi, Rachel. And on top of all that, though, it's been amazing. And like, yes, I miss my ex-partner. Like, that's like a, you know, it's a whole nother story. I'm not even gonna like get into that, because the fact of the matter is like I'm seeing my growth like every day, taking these tiny baby steps. Like some days it's like a step back and then a leap forward, but I seriously have been noticing like this huge shift, because with this, aside from all the healers and aside from like taking all this time for myself, I'm like, wow, like I can fucking do this. Like I don't need to sit in a room in an office with someone. I don't need someone to tell me all the tools, because I've learned the tools. Like I've been studying these tools for 5 years. I'm a certified yoga teacher. I'm like, if I don't know the fucking tools by now, then we have a fucking problem, because I have every book, every pamphlet. I've read it all. I've, you know, acquired this knowledge for a reason. I didn't just wake up yesterday and decide like, oh, I'm going to start a spiritual path. So, and it all comes with the fact of like having this knowledge and then incorporating like what's going into your body, which is the next thing I wanted to touch on, is and I'm sure a lot of people can relate, is like when you're going through a breakup or a hard time in your life, or a friendship falls out of place or whatever, or you lose your job, like literally anything, the American lifestyle is to turn to alcohol and to go out with your girls to the bars and, you know, to get dressed up pretty and do all these, you know, these things that are very temporary solutions. And I've definitely gone through phases of like having a lot of alcohol in my life and having a little, and right now I have basically none. By that I mean like literally none at all. And it's been a huge deal for me, because I have spent so much time like going to these things or turning to marijuana or alcohol or like whatever substance, like insert on the blank there, and I always just go back to square one, and I was never moving forward because I was continuing to just numb shit out. And being alone when I'm feeling emotional is literally like one of my biggest fears, that like the past 2 weeks I've been forcing myself to do. I didn't fly home for my family. I didn't go run and buy a big trip again. Like I didn't do any of that shit. I fucking sat in my room and I cried, and I looked in the mirror and I watched myself cry, and I was like, holy fuck, is this ever gonna stop? And it does. Like each day has gotten a little better. Like, and it's totally okay to cry, but it can't be when you're running away from yourself, because that's when shit gets scary. And like you can run away, but like your brain and your heart and your anxiety or whatever's inside of you is always going to follow. So anyways, back to the like drugs and alcohol thing. I have, you know, traded in my like nights out to spend time drinking cacao with my meditation sisters, and just sharing feelings with other women, and spending time with the people who have really invested their time and their love in me, and spending time with my family. Like my grandma lives 20 minutes away, and I was like never seeing her, and so she's getting older, so I've been committing to spending more time with my grandma and grandpa, and my mom coming to town to help out with my grandma's health issues. Like we spent some community time with like the women in my family, and as painful as it is to see the ancestral pain that is within my family, or the pain that I'm going through with my breakup, or all these outer pains that I really don't have any control over, what I do know and what I am learning is that I can shift and I can transition aside from all of it. And that is like the most important thing to know, is that even though like, oh, your boyfriend's mean, or you blah blah blah, or your friend's mean, or your parents suck, or whatever, like you have the power to transform aside from all of it. Like as long as you're using your tools and the modalities and everything that you need, you're able to, you know, to find this happiness. And it's not going to happen overnight. Like you're going to have to go through the messy parts of it. But I mean, this past 2 weeks, like I have just let myself have it, and like I have been going through it, and there have been so many people that have come forward as I've been raising my vibration, who have been meeting me on that level and coming forward and just showing support, even if it's just a friend like holding my hand while I cry, or you know, eating chocolate with me, or you know, all of these kind of things that are amazing. And that's why we surround ourselves with community, because when we start to isolate ourselves when we're in pain, that's when things can get scary. But that's not to say you shouldn't spend time alone, which is really different from isolation. Thanks, Rachel. You're so sweet. Rachel was one of my friends who just let me cry, and she made me chili, so she's awesome. And it was really good, even though I had no appetite because I was so sad. But there's a fine line between isolation and like being alone with your feelings, because spending that time alone is like the most vulnerable point that you can get to, because your friends can tell you it's okay, your friends are going to agree with you, your therapists are going to help you through it, your healers and your Reiki healers are going to do all the energy work and the massage and all that other stuff. But at the end of the day, like you're stuck with you. So you better love who you look at in the mirror, because you are born alone and you die alone. And that's kind of like always been my like, you know, kind of like narcissistic motto. But I really believe it, and I'm afraid that that's the truth also. So I have traded in so many of my old bad habits, not bad, but like they weren't serving me and my highest self, for these more simple nights where I just chant. I have my Cajon zone that I chant to. With my Buddhist practice, I spend time. I've had so many of my Buddhist people come over and just listen and chant with me and show support. I've been changing my diet. Especially with my health issue last week, like I've completely shifted my diet to fully serve, you know, my best feeling and my best self, which involved cutting out sugars, which is like a really tough pill to swallow for me because I really like chocolate. So like I've noticed even eating one Girl Scout cookie causes like my face to break out, because I've had like such a strict diet. Like I've cut out coffee, and I was drinking a shitload of coffee as I'm trying to finish this last semester of college. So all of these things, like we can all relate that we're all like going through stuff. We've all experienced trauma. We all have stuff that have affected our beings as to right this second in this exact moment. But what you need to realize is like once you allow yourself to vibrate higher, once you sit with the pain and feel it, so many things will come forward. Like I can't even tell you like the manifestations and like the ideas and like the things that have been coming together with like the women I've been working with, and the people that have been supporting me, and the people that I've been making these big plans with. And it's just been incredible to watch things fall into place. And that doesn't mean that every day I look at the clock and it's 11:11, although I love when that happens. But it means that I'm doing the work right here and right now, and I'm not waiting till tomorrow. And I just watched this amazing podcast by Katie Pasternak. I can't pronounce her last name. I think it's Pasternak. She's amazing. But if you listen to it, it's called The 3 Lies That We Can't Tell Ourselves to Believe. And I'm feeling so inspired just after watching that, because of how true it is that we just literally live under these like, we set these limits for ourselves, and we kind of shut down like all of our own success and our productivity, and we trap ourselves in our depressed, you know, repetitive lives, and it doesn't have to be that way. So just like joining in on this like huge new world being birthed, and when you are acting in alignment, you are attracting people that are also acting in alignment. And I'm not talking about attracting in a relationship sense. I'm talking about in your community, in the people that are going to be there for you when you need someone, when you're feeling emotional, and the people that are going to help you deal with those emotions properly. Because when you're sitting there complaining about your boyfriend doing something that pisses you off, and you have a friend that's like, yeah, fuck him, fuck that, you know where you're getting? Nowhere. You're going down. So when you have a friend that is like, yeah, well, is this serving your higher self? And they're challenging you to look at your life from an outside perspective. And when you have a friend that's really going to sit you down and be completely honest and upfront with you, as much as it might hurt your feelings or, make you realize some shit you might not want to realize, you're gonna vibrate higher if you are acting on those decisions and like taking great care of yourself. So I'm just gonna finish this by saying never sacrifice your self-care routine for anyone else. And if you notice that you're in a relationship or a friendship where you're putting aside your morning routine or your evening routine or the things you like to do or your diet or, your sobriety or whatever you're focused on, if there's someone that is like influencing you to behave in a way that maybe you wouldn't if they weren't influencing you, that's the time where you need to think like, wow, let me create some distance, because with that, you'll be able to see how your shift goes. And like I said, this isn't easy. Like, involves like separating yourself from people that you are in love with, that like you might have thought you were going to spend the rest of your life with. And like, who fucking knows what's going to happen in the future? Maybe some of the psychics do, but like I really don't know. But what I do know is that I'm going to have to look in the mirror every day until I die. And then again in my next life. It's just going to keep happening. So if I don't do the shifts now, then, what else am I going to do? Because I'm not going to move forward. If I'm not doing the work now, and like, yeah, I could just end it all. It could just be a quick donezo deal. But in my honest belief, and this doesn't mean it's everybody else's belief, I'll just get in my next life fucked in the same karma, maybe even worse, and have to just start from square one. So just keep moving forward and remember that your tribe that you surround yourself with really resonates and vibrates with your frequency. So paying attention to those energies, paying attention to what you're reading and looking at on social media, and really surrounding yourself with uplifting energy and people that are going to, really help assist you in like finding alignment with your highest, most divine self, because that's all we ever want in life, is to be happy and for our loved ones to be happy. So it can get frustrating when we're on this journey and like we're like, oh my god, I'm not very happy right now, or I'm having a bad day, or I'm having this experience that's affecting me negatively. But you need to realize it's an experience, it's all outside, and at the end of the day, all of you is inside, other than spirit, which is like, all around you and in everyone around you. So be cautious of your interactions, be cautious of your relationships and your friendships, and don't be afraid to take care of yourself, because that was one of the most courageous things I had to do for myself. And like, I felt like I was in a hamster wheel running in circles, trying to plan this future and this life, and I'm like, oh my god, I can barely get up and take a shower in the morning every day and like make that a priority. And like that's like one of the reasons how I knew that like I had a lot more work to do in like developing my self-routine and my self-care practices before I could commit a life and like a relationship with somebody else. So yeah, that got kind of intense, but the past 2 weeks have been so transitioning for me, and so many wonderful people have like come out of not nowhere, but like obviously like resonated towards me to be of service to me, and so many wonderful ideas have come to me and my group of women that I'm working with on business ideas, and my friend David, who we're doing this challenge in May. It's going to be a really great month-long Instagram challenge with free giveaways and raffles and like experiences that you're going to get for free just by commenting and participating and all that. So yeah, I'll give more details on all that later, but especially listening to Katie's podcast tonight, like, There is no reason to wait till tomorrow. Like, if you do the work right here, right now, you're going to see the benefits, and you're going to see yourself grow and prosper and live in abundance, and attracting people who want to help you grow and prosper. Because if there's people in your life that want to use you as stepping stones to climb up higher, then you're just going to get pushed down and buried down. So, yeah, you just need to really like watch out for your energy, because it's precious, and like if you don't feel like you can harness all of it inside of yourself safely, then you definitely need to like pay attention to who you're surrounding yourself with, because that's how it will get taken away. And continuing with your self-care practices. So thanks for everyone who came on and listened. I really appreciate it, and hope to be doing like more of these more often. And just to retouch on, here we go. It is blue calcite, wonderful for communication. I love it in this like spear form. Biggest piece of calcite came from Iceland, so 10 out of 10 recommend traveling to Iceland, and 10 out of 10 recommend blue calcite. This is like really beautiful. All right, guys, have a great night.